let's talk Raiders, Albert. What's happening with them? Another Tom Brady hire with him in the mix, and they've got the first overall pick as well. So obviously that's going to be part of the interview process, visions of Fernando Mendoza, or who they think is the first overall pick. What are you hearing about the Raiders' approach here?
So they're very cognizant that the quarterback is going to have to be accounted for in all of this, right? Like, so that does not mean you have to hire an offensive coach. However, if Jesse Minter, who they like a lot, is going to get the job, there's going to have to be a detailed plan for, okay, here's our offensive coordinator, here's our quarterbacks coach, here's how we're going to bring them along. And when we lose our offensive coordinator, if that happens in a year or two, here's the guy who's going to replace him, who I'm going to put on my staff right now. I think it has to be something like that, right? For them to be convinced not to go with an offensive guy. So I think Minter is in the running, and presuming he has a plan for all of that, which he's really sharp and he's interviewed really well. I would think that box would be checked by him. I think he's in the running. Davis Webb, to me, might be the most interesting name, though. He's incredibly well thought. He hasn't coached for very long is the problem, but he played in the league recently. He's, my understanding, got a passing relationship with Tom Brady, but he's got two offensive coordinator names that I know are on this list that have tight connections to Brady. And one is Brian Daboll, who could wind up going to Tennessee as the coordinator, could go to Buffalo as the head coach, but Brian Daboll's one name for Davis Webb. They were together both in New York and Buffalo when Davis was a player. And the other is Cliff Kingsbury, who almost went to Vegas a couple of years ago as a coordinator, who's tight with Brady. And so I think Davis Webb has a ton of head coach qualities. And I think part of it is the same thing with the Rams had with McVay, right? Which is, I remember talking to the Rams front office people when they hired Sean, and the whole thing was, well, we can hire him now a year early, or we just won't get him at all, because if he doesn't get a job this year, he's going to get one next year, and we're not going to be looking for one next year, right? So I think with Davis, that's part of the logic is, do we go in early on a year early with a guy, bring in an experienced offensive coordinator who can work with the quarterback, and just bet on this guy's upside? And so I think Davis Webb has a shot in Vegas under that sort of setup.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.